the journey itself, and this is really important, the journey itself, and the longest part of it, of figuring out product market fit, was actually relatively long. So from the outside, you look at this journey and say, wait a minute, this is only 5.5 years. But when you are inside, every day counts. And in particular, those that nothing works, right? So we started the company in 2008. We started to develop the first version running on a Nokia phone. That was the majority of the smartphones. And we launched the product at the beginning of 2009 in Israel. Now, at the beginning, it was actually pretty good, because this is at the end of a 2.5 years of journey, and then we launched the product in Israel, and it was okay. And we told ourselves, wait a minute, if this magic works in Israel, it can work anywhere, right? Now, remember this slide? Lack of traction. It was not good enough. It was actually good enough in a few places. It was good enough in the Czech Republic, in Slovakia, in Latvia, and in Ecuador, and that's about it. If you would try somewhere in 2009 using Waze in the US, it sucked. It was really bad. And the same in Western Europe, and the same in Latin America, the same pretty much everywhere. And so here's what happened, right? And this is, remember, journey of failures, right? So it doesn't work, and we are doing the right things. We are going and talking to users. We are speaking with them. We are getting their feedback, and they're telling us, okay, this one doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't work. And we build the next version. And the next version fixes everything that they told us, right? And we know that this is it, and it's not. And so we're doing it all over again, right? So we ask the drivers, and they give us the feedback, and we gather all these feedbacks, and we build the next version, and we know that this is it, and it's not. Iteration after iteration after iteration. And sometimes it's even worse than before. A whole year of iterations until we figured it out. And then we're starting to see the magic happens in multiple places. In the US, it was one metropolitan after the other. Los Angeles first, and then San Francisco, and then Washington, D.C., and New York, and Atlanta, and Chicago, one metropolitan after the other. In Europe, it was Italy first, and then Netherlands, and Sweden, and France, and Spain. In Latin America, one country after the other. 2011, we were actually in a phase that everything is working fine, and we are trying to think of what is the business model that we are going to use. And then in 2012, Waze was growing faster than the entire industry combined. So you take all navigation devices and all in-car navigation systems and all navigation apps, right? Waze outgrew all of them together. And then in 2013, Google came with a proposal to acquire us, and we said yes. And I left the day after I left so I can build more startups. But occasionally people ask me whether or not it was the right decision to sell Waze at the time. And I say, you know what, there are right decisions or no decisions. Because when you make a decision, you don't know what it would be like if you will choose a different path. So the reality is that Waze was sold for $1.1 billion. At the time, it was the highest price ever paid for an application, and definitely significant for all of the employees of Waze and all of the founders. What we didn't know is what would have happened if we will say no, right? So if you would ask me today, if Google would opt to sell Waze today, is that going to be more than $1.1 billion? Absolutely yes. But whether or not we would have gotten there if we wouldn't make that decision, you don't know that, and we don't know that. And therefore, when you make a decision, by definition, it's the right decision. So there are right decisions or no decisions.